22-year-old Anaisha Witt is accused of sex trafficking alongside her co-defendant, a known pimp from Toledo, Ohio.
We have breaking news from Toledo, Ohio. Anaisha Witt, facing a mandatory 20 years, took a plea deal and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. How does this all break down, you ask? Well, in the federal system, a mandatory minimum is a sentence length set by Congress that a judge must impose a specific least. The judge cannot go below that minimum unless a narrow exception applies. Many federal crimes have no mandatory minimum at all. Instead, they use the federal sentencing guidelines. In this case, Anaisha had 2 counts of sex trafficking, both carrying mandatory 10 years, one being transportation of a minor, which she pled guilty to last Friday, and her co-defendant, Robinson, the father of her child, plead to the other charge, receiving his full 10-year bid.
My life was horrendous. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts. Also, just knowing I'm probably gonna die out here anyway, one of these days. So that was my identity. There's no part of my life that I didn't accept. I fully accepted it. Working the streets, running girls, and trying to stay alive was the only thing I knew. But how did I get there? I was rescued twice. I had ran away from my trafficker 3 or 4 times on 3 or 4 occasions. I came into contact with law enforcement, police officers 3 times while I was being trafficked, even once while I was literally bleeding out. So the police had involvement in the ring that I was being trafficked under. So I don't really trust the police. That's me when I was 16 years old, before I ended up getting kicked out of my mom's house. And I lived with my boyfriend, and that's why I got kicked out, because I just kept spending the night with him and staying out too late. So I went ahead and moved in with him when she kicked me out. But when that was over, I didn't have anywhere. Like, I wasn't able to come back home. I would say that's where this thing starts at. As a 15 and 16-year-old, I wanted to be a model. I knew that I wanted to be rich, famous. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to do everything in the modeling industry. Everything was all about magazines, hair, makeup, taking photos. I wanted to be a model. I grew up middle class. My dad was always making sure we kind of had everything that we wanted, and making sure my mom had what she needed and stuff like that. But she worked too, so we lived really nicely, like large home and all of that kind of stuff. I always like to find expensive clothes and name brand designer, everything. I was a little girl that was into designers and fashion. The grooming process started when I was 16 years old, and he was just a big homie. And that's a term that we used in the hood, like your big homie. He was kind of like the big homie, somewhere I could go to and lay my head. And for a year, we got along well, and he violated a few times, but I didn't consider them violations at the time, of course. I felt very safe over there. He never forced anything that early on, which is why I thought I knew him so well. I really did. There was an incident where he was with another female and he requested a threesome, but I didn't want to do it, and he didn't put no pressure on it. So I did feel that I had choices in the beginning, but he was definitely testing my boundaries and seeing which ones he could stumble over. And the entering of the game is straight turnout mode.
In trafficking culture, being turned out is slang for the moment a trafficker forces someone into compliance, but off through violence, threat, sexual assault, or extreme psychological coercion to break their resistance and establish control. It's not a ceremony or initiation. It's a deliberate vibe to intimidate, a psychological breaking point where fear replaces resistance. You are absolutely right. A turnout is the moment fear replaces freedom, when violence is used to manufacture obedience.
I got turned out March 2004. in a bathroom at a Motel 6 in Detroit, Michigan. I hate telling this story. I despise telling this story because every time I tell it, I have a feeling that nobody cares. I know that's not true, but there's been nobody held accountable for it. There's not even been anybody helping me to try to get accountability for it until I got with my husband. I told my mom what happened. She did not react to this. So I'm about to tell y'all a story that I don't like really telling. I got turned out in a dirty bathroom. I didn't do what he asked me to do, what he wanted me to do, which was sell my body. Simple. I didn't do it. He took me in a bathroom, got down in my face and asked me a few questions. Then he grabbed his belt and took it off his waist. And I'm sitting there, I'm freezing. I had already been just outside all night. Cold, homeless as hell. But he's saying that this is home. So when I come home, I have to have money when I come home. And he made sure I understood that.
This week, the FBI announced the results of a nationwide crackdown on child trafficking. 120 suspects were arrested this month, and 84 young victims were rescued, including a 5-year-old girl and her sister, just 3 months old. Jeff Pegues takes us inside the sweep.
The raids targeted young kids in the prostitution business. The FBI's Innocence Lost initiative has been going after adults in all 50 states who profit from the illegal activity. Since the program started in 2003, more than 6,500 children have been recovered and more than 2,500 people convicted for trafficking-related crimes.
Hey, is this Bella?
We went on a raid with Maryland Trooper Chris Hyde just outside Baltimore.
Searching. We're searching, looking for juveniles.
And watched as an FBI agent we agreed to identify as Wynn sat in his car and scrolled through internet sites used for prostitution. He's looking for underage girls.
Hey, is this Candy?
Wynn says many girls work out of hotel rooms.
These victims of trafficking are stuck in these hotel rooms, seeing as many men as they're being told to see. It's a miserable life.
Tonight he has set up a date.
Hey, I want to see if you had any time tonight for me.
We were allowed in the room after agreeing not to identify the girl who tells Wynn she started working as a prostitute in her mid-teens.
You were 16? And how did that happen?
I don't even know, I just started, doing it because there wasn't no money, anywhere.
This is really a national epidemic.
John Clark runs the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. An epidemic.
I would say so. When you look at the number of kids now that are being trafficked and sold for sex, compared to just a handful of years ago, we see, sadly, the numbers are going up.
Well, what can I do to help you stop doing this?
Back in the hotel room, Wynn tries to talk the woman, who is now 24, out of prostitution.
I'm not going to say I'm going to stop doing it because I would be lying.
She doesn't make any promises. Jeff Pegues, CBS News, Towson, Maryland.
In March 2004, I was in a Detroit bathroom at a Motel 6, being punched in my face, beat with a belt, choked. He grabbed my neck and choked me. I landed in the shower. The shower rod fell. He was on top of me, choking me. And he was saying, I'm serious about this pimping shit. I'm serious about this pimping shit, India. And that's what he called me. He left out the bathroom and left me laying in the tub. I cried for a little bit, then I got myself out of the bathtub. And I came out to look at myself in the mirror. And I didn't recognize myself. I had a red dot in my eye. I felt really confused, and I just kept staring at my reflection. And I was trying to find myself in my eyes, and I just was trying to I just had an identity crisis or something. For a while, I had hope, and I had a little understanding that, okay, this was wrong, that was wrong. Somebody is going to hear about this or see this and know that it's so wrong. But that never happened for me. I had constant reinforcement that this was normal. He had a 18-year-old in the room and a 28-year-old. And I went on the bed and I was just crying. And I was comforted by the 18-year-old. She told me, "You'll get used to it."